Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury Service, whether in person or online. My name is Dale Hill, and my pronouns are she and her and hers. My husband Jonathan and I joined about 3 years ago, and before that we were members of a UU congregation in Maryland since 1996. We participate in the choir and attend music at the Ridge and movies with a message when we can. I also participate in one of the two women's groups. Please put yourself on mute if you have not done so already this morning, or turn off your phones. This morning we begin a month exploring the theme of paying attention, and our minister, Reverend Tony Lorenzen, reflects on how an experience he had at a Zen Buddhist retreat helped him understand paying attention. However you're feeling this morning, there is a place for you here. And together we will make this morning a celebration of community, support, friendship, kindness, and even inspiration. As we gather this morning, we respectfully acknowledge that our physical building is on the traditional land of the Pequot, Pequannock, Schaghticoke, and Wappinger people. Before we get started this morning, I invite you to greet your neighbors, either here next to you or others joining you online, and say hello. Introduce yourself to someone you haven't yet met, or wave across the room at old friends. Now Sterling will ring the chimes for us. Thank you, Sterling. We have one important announcement. Today, after the service at 11:30, there is a Pathways Through Membership class downstairs here in the Fellowship Hall. The topic for today is Unitarian Universalist history and theology and our present values and covenants. If you're thinking of joining the congregation, or if you'd like a primer on this topic, then this session is for you. See your order of service, our weekly email newsletter, and the events calendar on our website at uudanbury.org for a complete list of what's going on here in our congregation. We make this time and this place holy simply by being together with each other. And we begin by lighting the flaming chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Nell will be our chalice lighter today. Please join me in reciting the words to our chalice lighting affirmation in the bulletin and on the screen. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life.
When we wake up in the morning and there's yet another war, it sometimes feels like that flame of hope and justice, there's wind blowing at it, trying to knock it down. But even when it's a little flame, it grows and it stays alive in us. So follow me along. 100 years, 100 more. We throw our weight against the door. And even if we don't survive, we keep the little flame alive. 100 years, 100 more. We throw our weight against the door. And even if we don't survive, we keep that little flame alive. And one way we keep it alive is by raising our voices in song. And I invite you to rise in body and spirit and join in singing, "May nothing evil cross this door." May nothing evil cross this door, and may your fortune never pry about these windows. May the roar and rain go by faith made strong, the rafters will, within the battering of the storm, this heart through all the world grow chill, will keep you warm. Peace shall walk softly through these rooms, touching our lips with holy wine. Every casual corner blooms into a shrine. With laughter drown the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep hate out and hold love in.
Morning, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Heather Smith. I'm part of the family ministry team. So over the next, 4 months or so, you'll see different volunteers from the team, from the board, members of the congregation who teach for us, kind of doing the things that Sarah Marie does while she's on her sabbatical. So we wish her really well. So I'd love it if you would join me in saying our children's affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We care for the earth and each other.
Story this morning is Wash Your Bowl. It's an old traditional Zen story. Sometimes we can think that things in life are all really big or far away. Like a fancy vacation you have to save up a lot of money for and patiently wait for it to happen. But the truth is, the small and ordinary moments of life and every day, like eating breakfast, walking the dog, washing a bowl, are also pretty amazing if we can focus on them and be in the present moment while doing them. Really focusing our attention on ordinary moments in front of us is what today's story is about. Our Buddhist friends work hard at this and encourage us to do the same. So I tell you a story about a young monk who, with the help of his teacher, discovers what paying attention to what is right in front of him is about. A young monk had just arrived at a monastery and was eager to learn and grow in his practice. And one day he approached Master Joshu and said, "Master," bowing low, "I've just entered the monastery. Please give me some guidance." Master Joshu looked at him calmly and said, "Have you eaten breakfast yet?" "Yes, Master, I've eaten my breakfast." And Joshu smiled at him and said, "Then go wash your bowl." The monk was confused. Go wash my bowl? Go wash my bowl, is that it? Joshu nodded. Yes, go wash your bowl. Wash it fully. Life is not somewhere else, doing something else. It is right here, right now. Go wash your bowl. And from that day on, the young monk remembered when he ate fully. When he washed his bowl, he washed the bowl fully. And slowly, day after day, little by little, he learned how to be present to each moment of his life. What I love about that story is that it reminds us about paying attention to the present moment and how it's not just about feeling calm or de-stressed, but also about appreciating and finding the meaning in every little aspect of our lives. Even the most very ordinary things that happen can be special and amazing when we give them the attention they deserve. I invite everybody who would like to go with our children's program to come up with Heather, and we'll light the lantern. And on the way out, we'll collect food for Dorothy Day. So if you have something, you can make sure you let people know and we can come and pick it up. And as we're doing that, we'll sing This Little Light of Mine. How many of you had breakfast this morning? How many of you washed the bowl afterwards? Very good. I invite you to continue that presence and awareness here among our community. I invite you, if you are comfortable doing so, take a deep breath. Let yourself relax into where you're sitting. Be grounded. And enter into a bit of silence together. I invite you this morning, if you're comfortable doing so, to join me in a litany based on a traditional Buddhist chant from the end of the Heart Sutra called the Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom. It's part of the Mahayana Buddhist canon, and it's also known sometimes in English as the heart calming mantra. And given everything that's happening these days, I think most of us could use all the heart calming and heart enlivening we can get. There are a couple translations, but the same general theme comes up in all of them. The Sanskrit generally means gone beyond the beyond into enlightenment. And the Sanskrit words are gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisva. And follow Jerry for the melody, and we'll sing that line. It's done twice, and then I'll offer a litany of meditations in between. May all those working to free children from the oppressions of slavery, poverty, and exploitation find strength and support in their communities so that every child's life may unfold like a beautiful blossom in the sun. May nations and leaders find the strength and wisdom to abandon strategies of violence, conflict, and aggression, so we may direct our boundless resources towards cooperation, tolerance, humility, and peace. May all those working on nonviolent means of conflict resolution find strength and support wherever and whenever they are called to act. And may they have success as they lead us toward a world that chooses the compassionate way. May we all recognize our potential for boundless love by acknowledging past acts of greed, hatred, and illusion. With the eye of wisdom and the heart of compassion, may we respond to the suffering of all people without judgment and without reservation. May we all find the necessary support in friends, family, and community to look deeply into our lives, acknowledging without reproach how selfishness, confusion, and fear sometimes lead to our own suffering and the suffering of others. May we humbly learn complete self-acceptance, that we may freely receive ourselves and others, always with respect and with compassion. May we clear our eyes so that the treasure of life is seen in all of creation. And may we walk gently with a smile on our face, always meeting the world with an open heart and with compassion. And every Sunday morning, we make time here for compassion to enter our lives, for our hearts to open. And one of the ways we do this Sunday after Sunday is sharing what's in our heart with others, either silently by placing a stone so others know that there's something going on with us, or by briefly sharing something out loud to let others know what's in our heart with words. And so once again, I invite you to do that this morning. First, if you would like to share a silent milestone, to come up and place that stone in the water. Breathing, which is number 1009 or on the screen.
We'll start by singing all three of the lines independently, and then you can choose which one you'd like to sing. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Pick one of those lines and it'll all work together. Here we go. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
And now the reading for today. This is an excerpt from Maria Popova's book review of Raising Hare, that's Hare, by Chloe Dalton, originally posted to Popova's blog, Marginalia. Narrow the aperture of your attention enough to take in any one thing fully. and it becomes a portal to everything. Anneal that attention enough so that you see whatever and whoever is before you free from expectation, unfiltered through your fantasies or needs, and it becomes love. Come to see anything or anyone this clearly, a falcon or a mountain or a patch of moss, and you will find yourself loving the world more deeply. I'm back up. When you give your time and energy to the work of this congregation, and when you donate to its financial support, you are giving gifts to each other. Together, we give to the community around us. You can use the QR code to give online. It's in the bulletin, or you may also mail a check to UUCD at 24 Clapboard Ridge Road in Danbury. Thank you for your generosity.
Woke up yesterday morning in a different time zone to the news a lot of people woke up to. That the petulant child in charge of this country has started another war to distract us from the fact that he's a horrible criminal and is rounding up people he doesn't like for various reasons, and disappearing them and building a series of concentration camps, basically, around the country and in other places. And I sighed disgustedly. I wasn't home. I was sitting in somebody's very modest kitchen in Costa Rica, where in the household, I was the only person who spoke English, and I was now going to have to talk about all this in Spanish. Dios mío. But I had said it a few times already in the past couple of weeks. No me gusta mi país ahora. I don't really like my country much right now. What it's doing, where it's headed. But what I do love is the idea of my country under that is fighting back against it. I don't want to ignore the latest trauma, war, and outrage. But it's important that we do pay attention to these things. that we are not numb to it. And yet, at the same time, the outrage of what's happening in Iran is not a new outrage. In my lifetime, this country's been lied to about wars in Vietnam, lied to about wars in Iraq, lied to about wars in Iran, lied to about wars in Palestine. It goes on and on. When the latest war shows up, I always think of this episode of the old TV show MASH. And there's a story in one of the episodes, and there's a point in the story where Alan Alda's character, Hawkeye, says, "Oh, the war won't ever be finished. There's only ever really been one war. When it closes up shop here, they just move it somewhere else." And the line's both really funny and horrible at the same time. Because of where our limited attention goes, it's easy for us to forget that every day their war somewhere is going on. It may or may not be ours. The Ukraine, Palestine, wherever else. And it's important that we not grow numb to that. But it's also important that we pay attention to other things that strengthen us, help us see beauty, give us courage and resources, so that eventually one day we create the world where the war doesn't open up shop again. Years ago, when I was in graduate school, I was one of the co-directors of a summer jobs program. This is back when the federal government would give money all around the country to hire high school and college students and give them summer work and give them job experience and productive things to do in their community. Go figure. It was an interesting job. I was one of the job counselors through undergrad, and in grad school, I became one of the directors of the local program for the New England Farm Workers Council. And my first year as one of the co-directors, I had to hire the staff. And we hired the staff, my co-director and I, and about a week into the program, after a week of going out to job sites and meeting with teenagers and learning their stories and learning about their lives, and they were all of a certain type of life because you had to be under a certain income level and certain family situations and everything just to be in this program. This woman comes back, and she's not much younger than me, crying, like uncontrollable sobbing. And she says, "I can't do it. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep hearing about their lives. They're just one awful thing after another." And all I could think to say was, this really is a hard job to do, like other jobs in the world, if you're a person with a good, caring heart, because of the pain you're going to run into. But if you're not the kind of person whose heart breaks running into these things, you shouldn't be doing this job. You're the person we need. And sometimes it's difficult to find the resources to take your compassionate heart into the world as it is. And so I'd like to talk a little bit this morning about learning to deepen our ability to pay attention to what is good, because that strengthens our ability to work against what is unjust and what is wrong. And I think we learn to pay attention to those things and deepen our inner strength one episode at a time in our lives. Something helps us deepen, we go on a while, something helps us deepen again. So this is a story from my life when I really learned to deepen paying attention to small things. And it's a lesson I've had to remember over and over again since. And it started at the end of a first day which was really just the first afternoon into the evening of a Zen Buddhist retreat. And the Jiki Jitsu, who's the person who leads the chanting, stopped a chant and then said, "Prepare for Oryoki." And I'm like, what the heck's Oryoki? And it was loud. It really got our attention. We paid attention to, it's now time for Oryoki. And this call to Oryoki had everyone fixated because for the first time, the chant leader really raised their voice. This was about 20 years ago. It was my first sesshin or Zen Buddhist silent retreat. So I couldn't ask, what's Oryoki at that point? I just had to sit and wait for what was next. And I was kind of prepared and kind of not for this retreat. I had done some meditation. I went to a meditation group once a week. Maybe not prepared for the extent of the meditation. I had been at 4 hours of meditating by Oryoki time, and the next day was going to be 9 hours of meditation. My knees hurt, my back hurt, my hips hurt, and I didn't know what Oryoki was. And I couldn't talk to ask anything about it because I'd forgotten to ask my questions before we went silent. So I did know that Oryoki had something to do with eating because before the retreat, I had to buy an Oryoki set, which is a set of 3 nested bowls, each one smaller than the other. Chopsticks, a spoon, and a huge napkin you wrap it all up in. So I had my Oryoki set, and I'm assuming it's dinner time, but I don't know. And everyone started, who knew what they were doing, to put their Oryoki set in front of them. Took it out from behind and put it in front of them. So I take my Oryoki set and I put it out, and people are unwrapping it, and I unwrap it. And I was like, aren't we going to move these things to the table for dinner? Oh, no, we were going to eat right here, sitting on our cushions, right where we had been meditating all day. And as I had that realization, I started to smell the dinner. I had never really noticed up to that point in my life that rice had a smell. Now I notice it all the time. I'd never noticed rice had a smell before. I had never noticed sweet potatoes had a smell cooking before. Now I recognize that smell. It goes back to that weekend. Maybe this might be interesting after all. And then the chanting started again. I'm like, wait a minute, I can smell the food now. I was getting very impatient all of a sudden with this Oryoki thing. And the chanting starts up again, and it keeps going. I don't know how long. It seemed like an extra hour to me. It was probably 5 minutes. But I was now hungry. I could smell the food. I like to cook. I like to eat. I can smell the dinner. Where's dinner? So it was with extreme relief I saw 2 people from the retreat start to walk out with the food from the kitchen. And the way this is served in Oryoki is the servers come around to you with the rice, with the vegetable, with whatever is being served that night. And they go around to everybody, and you have to give a hand signal when you have enough in your bowl. This is a concept I would come to really understand over the remaining meals that weekend. Enough in my bowl. There's enough here now in my bowl. I took my first bite of sweet potato, and the intense hunger I was feeling kind of went away. And I wasn't ravenous anymore. I could eat a little more slowly. I also had chopsticks, which I'm still not expert at, so eating was going to be slower anyway. But I slowed down, and I started to notice how the rice tasted. I never tasted rice before. Up to that point in my life, rice was one of those things you just shoveled in and gulped down. and then the sweet potatoes, and the vegetables, and the berries. All of a sudden, every bite was loaded with flavor. And it was super simple. And I thought of Thich Nhat Hanh's reminding everybody, wash the dishes to wash the dishes, wash your bowl, and eat your dinner to eat your dinner. Eat your breakfast, wash the bowl. And that meal seemed to last a long time, and it was probably 10 minutes. And when they came around asking if people wanted more, I found myself, having been really hungry, giving the signal for no, I've had enough. Then I wondered who was going to be doing the dishes, and I learned we all were. Because then hot tea came around, and we drank some, and we used the rest to clean our bowls and drink it after we cleaned the bowl, and dry it with our napkin and wrap everything back up for the next meal. We washed the dishes to wash the dishes after eating the meal to eat the meal. And the paying attention got deeper for me during that meal, and it deepened over the rest of the meals and the rest of the weekend. And I learned that that's what this style of eating is about. It's about learning when you have enough. When a person becomes a monk, taking up the way of the Buddha, they are traditionally given two things, a robe and a bowl. And they represent the two things most necessary to sustain life, external shelter for protection and food for nourishment. And neither the robe nor the bowl is very extravagant. Robes and bowls aren't real fancy. I mean, they can be, but most of them are not. I've read that in Chinese, the term for the monk's bowl in Buddhist practice can be translated, and I got to check this, you know Chinese. Yeah, the instrument for appropriate measure. Yeah. And I just thought that was so cool. And over the years, off and on, I've given a lot of thought to maybe eating Oryoki style again. And I never do it. But I do smell more food now. I do eat slower most of the time than I used to. I had been a teacher at that point. I had 17 minutes for lunch every day. You know, you learn to eat fast, and then you have to learn to slow down. And I eventually just lost that Oryoki set. It broke when I arrived in Connecticut 6 years ago after moving. It had broken. I haven't replaced it. But over the last 2 weeks in Costa Rica, I had to pay a lot of attention to my meals again, and it brought this experience up for me of doing the Oryoki. I lived for 2 weeks with a woman named Alice, her cousin Lucia, they're about 70, and Alice's son Chris, and they didn't speak English. And so breakfast was every day at 7 a.m., and dinner was every night at 6 p.m. And all the meals weren't in silence, but they were in Spanish. Sí, tengo mucha hambre anoche. Sí, and it was very simple for me, but it was enough to get through the meals. But once again, I was paying a lot of attention. What was the food? What was its name? How do I ask for more? How do I say that's enough? And in Costa Rica, the culture is if you're served something, it's really impolite not to finish it. So only ask for what you want to eat from your host. And so night one, I'm thinking, okay, what's enough? Suficiente? Will that work? Will they understand what I'm saying? And when I was paying attention again, it slowed the whole meal down. And these meals didn't last terribly long, 20 minutes, 30 maybe. But because I was needing to pay more attention due to language and culture, they seemed to be much longer than they actually were, like Oryoki, and it brought all that back up for me. And I was reminded once again that we are what we eat. When I learned to eat Oryoki, I learned that when I slow down and pay attention, the rest of my life follows in that manner. And when I don't, and I ignore things and don't pay attention, my life follows in that manner. And I was reminded once again that I don't need a lot of fancy extra things in my life to have enough. I ate a lot of meals that were basically rice and beans and something else for 2 weeks. It was fine. In fact, it was really good. And now the world feeds us war and authoritarianism and prejudices and chaos and trauma. And what the world feeds us, mass media and social media, want us to take and eat real fast, throw it down our throats, and have more. It's like the equivalent of fast food in our brain. Not really healthy, and we're being pushed all the time. And we don't need it. We can't disengage from the struggles against injustice, but one of the things we can do is stop re-traumatizing ourselves with doom scrolling and news feeds and social media. We know what's going on. We're not going to ignore it. But we also need to pay attention to the other things, because that is what strengthens us to keep going and put up the resistance and the justice that's going to stop this. So I invite you to bring the fullness of your attention as you can to your community, to the parts of your life that are fulfilling you, the parts that are sustaining you, the parts that uplift and uphold you. What we feed within us grows, and we are what we do. If we do justice and do mercy and do inclusion and do community and do resistance, we will overcome the injustices and the oppression and the violence. Each of us needs love and acceptance. We need to feel wanted and to have purpose. And all of us do seek these things in the world from others and from the world around us. And it's important as we do, we remember to love and accept ourselves, because that love and acceptance is also within us. And like any meditation or paying attention practice, it's a simple thing, but it's not always easy to do. But we can practice it daily, paying a little closer attention to the everyday mundane things, especially the ones that we find full of beauty and inspiration. We will find that what we have quite often is enough. Thich Nhat Hanh's community practices and teaches the traditional Buddhist precepts, the 5 mindfulness trainings. And the 5th mindfulness training, the 5th precept, deals with consumption. It says, aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I vow to cultivate good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, my society, by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and mindful consuming. I vow to ingest only items that preserve peace, well-being, and joy in my body and consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family and society. We are what we eat. And if our society is eating a lot of lies and a lot of violence and a lot of injustice, it'll go that way. But if we do not do that, and we remember to take in the joy and the inclusion and the love that's around us so we can practice that, that's how we overcome. We are what we eat. Food comes from the farm, not the supermarket. Learning happens outside of school just as much as any in school. And the community is the home base for the spiritual journey. So I invite all of us to pay a little more attention, to focus on observing when we have enough, and to see if we all might come to truly understand as the mindfulness training says, that a proper diet is crucial for self-transformation and for the transformation of society.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame and into the world until we are together again. Now, please join in singing our hymn of celebration. How can I keep from singing number 108 in the gray hymnal?
All the tumult and the strife, I hear the music. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? Though the darkness round me grows, so in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost heart, while to the rock I'm clinging. Since love belongs, to them are weeping. When friends must shame or undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
A reminder that if anyone would like a quick primer on Unitarian Universalist history and or theology and spirituality, especially if you're new to us, that'll be downstairs at 11:30. May all beings everywhere, whether near or far, whether known to me or unknown to me, be happy. May they be well, may they be peaceful, may they be free. When you leave here today, go in peace.